Yes, you guys, welcome back. A very last minute impromptu video, but I just came out from holiday. I got back yesterday, but my flight was delayed like crazy. I didn't get back to yard until like nearly 4 a.m. in the morning. Conked out differently, woke up feeling absolutely awful and terrible, and I was in no proper state to make content. I've been trying to, cleanse up a bit more now. Need to get the rhythm back of making content, so bear with me. But of course, today we got a massive game against RB Salzburg. Graham Potter's first game in charge. So in today's News Daily video, I want to discuss just two things. I want to talk about the predicted lineup for the game tonight. I want to discuss the reasons why Todd Boehly decided to sack Thomas Tuchel in the end. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, bear with me until I get my full rhythm back, you guys. I'm still not feeling too great. Yeah, holiday was a bit of a blur. A bit too mad, to be honest with you. Wasn't expecting to be that much, but I'm back now and excited to make videos again. So I hope you guys enjoy and getting straight into things. So right now, I want to start things off by discussing the predicted lineup for the game tonight. Now, a quick disclaimer. This is a wrong lineup straight away. I'm almost like 1000% sure that this is the incorrect lineup, but the reason why I'm using this one is to really share the principles and the understanding behind the ideas that Graham Potter has. So in this lineup, I've gone for a 3-5-2. Up front, Aubameyang and Kai Havertz. Wing backs in midfield, Raheem Sterling, Mount, Zakaria, Ruben and Reece James. And in the back three, I've gone for Cucurella, Fofana in the middle and Koulibaly on the right hand side with Mendy in goal. Now, my thinking behind this team is that with Graham Potter, his main ethos is on attacking possession football, which relies upon a lot of flexibility with formations and systems that change in game. He's one of the few managers in Europe that has found a way to coach a team to be able to understand so many different complex ways of playing and synergizing them together in like a perfect way. And that is like a real skill and talent that kind of like separates him from quite a few coaches and managers. So this will be very interesting to see. And the reason why I picked this lineup is for the main reason that I think in attack, we could probably be like a back four team. It could be like a 4-3-1-2 with like maybe Raheem Sterling kind of moving up front with Aubameyang, with Kai dropping a bit deeper as well, with a midfield three of like Mount, Zakaria dropping deeper to be that DM, with Ruben on the right hand side flanking, with Reece James and Cucurella acting as those auxiliary fullbacks that need to help create width when they have to. I think that's like my thinking behind this lineup. I mean, this could be the complete wrong idea though. We could see this type of like base formation shift into like a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 or so many things, because that is what Graham Potter teams do. So it'll be a learning experience. I'm really looking forward to understanding the ideas that Graham Potter is going to instill in this team. I think we all should. Let's keep an open mind. But to continue on, I want to actually explain some of the principles behind Graham Potter's way of playing and some of the differences behind our old way of playing actually. So to start with things, of course, him and Tuchel are quite familiar with using a back three setup. They both like playing possession football, but how they play possession football is very different. With Thomas Tuchel, it's more about containment. Containment in the sense that we assert our game in the opponent's half. And the key thing was we would limit and stop opposition teams' counterattacks. It really came to life more in the big games against teams that were not afraid to sit back and came out to attack and press us. You saw that there in abundance. We're incredible at doing that. We can never deny that. But I guess as time went on, we kind of got found out by a lot of opposition teams. And in that sense, it kind of stifled our attacking play. And the difference now with Graham Potter is the fact that he likes his teams to attack in central positions and he likes to have guys free 1v1 out wide. Hence why I've used Raheem Sterling in the wide area, knowing the fact that he's not really acting as like a proper wing back. It's more the sense that he can have like the starting position out wide and then find himself, of course, in those central positions when he makes those late man runs in from behind. That's my thinking behind things. But again, we can maybe see Graham Potter sticking with like a status quo type of thing, just to, work with the team a bit more in terms of them understanding his ideas and his principles. In that sense, another similarity that Tuchel and Potter have is the fact that, they rely upon a lot of like positional flexibility from the players. Whereas guys like maybe Antonio Conte who use like a back three setup, they're a lot more formal and a lot more rigid with how they play. But going back to like one of the main final differences between Graham Potter and Thomas Tuchel is how they like their teams to attack. Thomas Tuchel relied a lot on wide overloads. I think that's like more of a safer way to play because you constantly have protection behind you to mitigate any opposition counterattacks. And of course, you're playing like a margins game in the sense that over time you'll wear your opponents down when you're moving that ball from left to right, left to right, left to right. And then of course you'll create those good opportunities that come, but they don't come as frequent. Whereas Graham Potter wants the teams to express himself a bit more. And he wants the teams to attack more centrally in those areas. As I said before, keeping guys free wide 1v1 to create different types of attacking opportunities. That's the key difference between them. And for me, with Thomas Tuchel, the main reason why, as time went on, we got found out by teams, and you could see in the central areas, there was like an ocean of space there. There was no connectivity at all. And when you don't have that, that's going to limit your chance creation and your ability to, score goals and create attacks. Whereas with Potter teams, you constantly see players combining together in those central areas, and when you're combining, you're creating new avenues and possibilities, and you're more creative and you're more fresh in that sense. So to end things, I think that we have a lot of players, as we've seen already, that are very flexible in terms of the positions they can play in and they can take up. And I think that actually kind of take up Potter's ideas quite quickly, knowing the fact that they'll enjoy probably playing different ways within the same game. I think that would be a very interesting thing to see from the team. And as I'm really stressing before, like Graham Potter is one of the few coaches in Europe who can like change systems on the fly in game with the players having perfect understanding of what to do in the right areas. And I think that's kind of why Brighton have had a very good record under him of picking up points against the very big teams. So it's going to be a very interesting game to watch tonight. I'm curious how many different formations we may see in game, and I'm very curious to see the differences in which we attack against the opposition. So that is my predicted lineup, which, as I said before, you guys, is most likely very wrong. Share your thoughts and opinions. Give us the lineup that you think we may see as well too. Moving on now to the next talking point in today's news. We finally got some clarification behind why Todd Boehly decided to sack Thomas Tuchel. It wasn't based on our recent results. It was based on the ideological difference between Todd Boehly and Thomas Tuchel. As Boehly was saying before, when you take over any business, you just have to make sure you're aligned with the people you are operating the business with. I think Tuchel is obviously extremely talented and someone who has a great success with the club. Our vision for the club was finding a manager who really wants to collaborate with us, a coach who really wanted to collaborate. And I guess that is kind of fair. I mean, these guys, they're no joke, He found the right people, built the right consortium, and spent a lot of time being the winner to buy this club for a lot of money. So I guess after all of that, the last thing you need is for your manager to not have the same vision you have. And I think Todd Boehly, as we're seeing, wants to create long-term structures. And I think for me personally, he's realized there's a lot of inefficiency behind how we deal with things here. And I've been kind of just like critiquing the inefficiency over the years making this channel, you guys. I feel like the short-term approach has been successful, but it is not the only way to win. I think sometimes we can get too conditioned to believing that, okay, this one way we do things is the only way we can do things. Life doesn't work like that. You can't like close off how you see things and think and move. Otherwise, you're going to stagnate and guys will move on and do better than you. And that's what we've seen Liverpool and Man City do. So Todd Boehly, I think, is using some of his expertise behind, running American franchises. And I think the key successful thing behind that was building a long-term core ideology, which is what he is currently trying to do. Hence why we're looking to get Luis Campos. I mean, in an advisory role, that's mad, you guys. Luis Campos is one of the best in the business. We're looking at the sporting director from RB Salzburg. We're looking at building a feeder club network. All of us guys that play Football Manager, what is the thing we do when we focus on building our academy and getting 5-star rated potential players? We pattern the feeder clubs. There's all these little things we can add that combine together. And I think there was one very interesting thing Todd Boehly said in that interview. And he said this: I think there's a lot of walls to break down at Chelsea. For example, the first team and the academy didn't really share data. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, I can. I've been saying forever that the first team is like a bubble that is isolated from the rest of the club. The rest of the club is run so superbly, but with the first team, I don't know why we feel like it's its own different entity. It's not efficient. It doesn't make sense, and it's the reason why I've not really seen players growing up the levels like I saw with your Terrys, Lampards, and many more back in the day. But moving on, as he says, so our goal is to really bring a team together that with the academy, with the first team, with the incremental clubs we want to acquire and develop, all of that needs to be a well-oiled machine. And the reality for our decision was that we weren't just sure that Thomas saw the same way we saw. No one's right or wrong. It's just that we didn't share the same vision for the future. It wasn't about soccer, it was really about the shared vision for what we want at the club, and it wasn't a decision that was made as a result of a single win or a single loss. It was a decision that was really about what we thought was right for the vision of the club, which makes a lot of sense, you guys. I think that's why Tuchel was kind of like in heaven under the old regime, because they allow him to just focus on the tactics and the coaching. That's what he wants to do. Ideally, new regime now, you want to be a bit more unity with the coach. You want to make sure that you can, have that type of relationship when it comes to things and matters like that. And you want your manager to have a bit more influence, which he had the possibility of having at this football club now. So, it's not really about heroes or villains in this situation. I just think it's just like two experts in their field who just don't really meet eye to eye in that sense, because they see football and the race to get success in football in different ways. Now, to end things, you guys, Boehly says here, our goal is to make sure we can show pathways for our young superstars to get into the Chelsea pitch while getting them real game time. To me, the way to do that is through another club somewhere in a really competitive league in Europe. And of course, that's talking about, building a feeder club network, of course, like we were showing signs of doing when we had that type of a relationship and partnership with Vitesse, which we've kind of stopped using now for the past few seasons, which doesn't make that much sense considering that your Breuers and your Mounts and many players have benefited and prospered from that type of relationship. So for me, you guys, I would love to make like a video talking about the pros and cons on Thomas Tuchel. It's not about hate. For me, there were things I liked and there are things I didn't like. And, maybe I should just make that video. Sometimes I get a little bit nervous, I'll keep it real, because sometimes the football audience can be a little bit tribalistic in the sense that, everyone's quick to either love or hate and there's no in between for conversation. But maybe I should just ignore that, put it out there and just see what happens. But yeah, we got the final revelation behind why Tuchel was sacked. We saw his statement too. If I was to end things though, the only thing I would say is that even if they didn't have the same ideological similarities, I think he should have got a better send-off regardless, because we can't forget the successes that Tuchel brought here, and we wouldn't have got them without him and his expertise at the time. No matter what type of negatives did come, he wasn't defined by the negatives only. It's a balanced situation. Let's keep things honest and real. I just think that he should have got a better send-off regardless. So I don't think that was right from Todd Boehly, to be honest. But that's the game, you guys. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to keep things moving, and I'm going to get ready for the game tonight against RB Salzburg at Stamford Bridge. I will be doing a watch along, so make sure you guys watch the game with me so we can dissect in real time what is happening with Graham Potter's new Chelsea team. And yeah, share your thoughts and opinions, you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm Nini FC. This is BlueLionsTV. Catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.